So, you guys, overall, as a class, we did very well on this quiz, but I wanted to take a look at the 3 most commonly missed problems. In fact, as I was looking through them, about half of the students in the class missed these 3 problems, and some for a variety of reasons. So, the first one here, number 3, use a graphing calculator to graph that and then compare the graph. Okay, I would hope that you could compare it without having to use the graphing calculator, knowing that this negative sign, what does that do? Hey, raise our hand here. What we got? Yes? Okay, it's a reflection, and Sebastian, what's it reflecting over? What's that? Yeah, reflection over the x-axis. Okay? Tell your neighbor what the 3/8 does.
It makes it shrink by a factor of 3/8.
Okay, volunteer. Yeah, Jilly. Good. It's a vertical shrink by a factor of 3/8. Okay? Hey, tell your neighbor why it's a shrink and not a stretch. Volunteer, why is it a shrink? Mercedes? Yeah, it's less than 1. Therefore, it's a shrink. Okay, it's less than 1, greater than 0. It's closer to 0. It's a shrink. Okay, and just so that we're clear in terms of what we're shrinking and stretching towards, when you're looking at your axes, this graph right here is wider than this graph. It would be much wider, whereas x squared is more narrow. Maybe a bit of an exaggeration there, but the branches, if you think of these parts of the parabola, your branches, these things are being pulled down towards the x-axis. So they're shrinking or compressing or being pushed down towards the x-axis, whereas these are further away from the x-axis. All right. Okay, find, that's supposed to say find. Find the y-intercept and the axis of symmetry of that. Number 9. Tell your neighbor what the y-intercept is. Okay, number 9 was a commonly missed problem. The y-intercept is always your constant value.
Oh, wait, did I get it right there?
Y equals 23.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's our y-intercept. Nice job. Okay, I know that, but I write with my right. Yeah, crazy, right? Okay, so y-intercept is 23. It's always the constant. Your axis of symmetry, remember the AOS, is equal to x equals negative b over 2a. Now, a lot of you missed this part of it. B in this problem is the thing attached to x. What's attached to x? Negative 20a. Okay, so we would have the opposite of negative 20a all over 2 times a. Well, what's a? This thing attached to x squared in this case. Just a. So if I am simplifying that, this negative becomes positive. It becomes a positive. So that's no longer there. It's a positive. So we have 20a divided by 2a is equal to just 10. The axis of symmetry is x equals 10. Do not forget x equals. If you just put 10, you missed it. You have to say x equals 10. Okay. Any questions? You all right? I don't know either. Number 10. A group of friends is launching water balloons from the roof of a building The function f of t is equal to negative 16t squared plus 96t plus 20 represents the height of the first balloon in t seconds after it's launched. Okay, tell your neighbor what h represents. Height, except for there is no h. So tell your neighbor what t represents. T represents the time in seconds. What represents my height?
F to the T.
F of t, or F represents my height here. Okay?
FT.
Good? All right. Talk to your neighbor about which one goes further. And how do you know, or how do you actually figure that out in this problem? Okay, volunteer to tell me about how high the second water balloon goes. Raise their hand. Logan, what do you got? Okay, so the second water balloon goes about, maybe 120-ish. Okay, each line there is going up 25. So second balloon, 125 or 120 feet. Okay? How do we figure out how far or how high the first balloon goes? Raise your hand, please, Quinn. Okay, so you graph it and then find what? The vertex. Okay. So if I graph it and find the vertex, how do I find the vertex? Okay. Well, that's part of the vertex, yeah.
You find your y or x and plug it into the equation.
Yeah, and then we do that. And then whenever it equals the
Vertex is the order pair. I told you yesterday. What's the first value?
H.
Good job, Quinn. Negative b over 2a. Okay, and from there, what do we do with negative b over 2a? Logan, well done. F of negative b over 2a, and yeah, same thing, Kaylee. Okay. All right. So you need to find the opposite of b over 2a. Then you need to plug that in and find your y value. Which one represents height here? Your x or your y? Your y represents height. What does x represent?
the distance.
Which we call time. Okay. All right. Figure out how high that one goes.
Jeez, watch your profile.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Okay, you got the time is 3 seconds.
Wait.
Hey, man. I'm hoping that's right.
3 squared is 9. 16 times 3 is 16. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I'm not even looking at the square.
Hey, I think I got it right. I definitely got it right.
All right. Actually, that's the first balloon. So the first balloon goes higher. Spell balloon right. One too many O's. First balloon went higher by about 44 feet. Yeah, Mano.